okay, a little stressed, but I'm okay. I'm trying to be here with you because you guys make me feel less stressed.
Aww.
Very cool. So, I guess I did a quick text to Mrs. Vitak, and I was like, hey, I just want to make sure I'm connecting right. And she goes, hey, I'm not there. They got it opposite. So that's really cool. What do I need to know, and what would you like me to do?
Well, we just have 5 questions for you for our 15-minute time. So yeah, we just want to hear your answers on those.
Wonderful. Do you want just really off the cuff from me, or are you going to give me a heads up on the questions?
We will help you, yeah. The questions.
First off, can you share with us a little bit on how you got into doing this?
Into being a consultant?
Yeah. And kind of like your whole PBL, yeah.
Got you. Okay. Well, originally I was a middle school, high school social studies teacher, and kind of raised a little bit of Cain there. Was a little bit of a troublemaker. Got into gifted and special education, and they tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, G, we like what you're doing. We're starting a new school in our district, and we want you to run that show. And I said, no, I would like to work there, but I don't want to run it. And they said, yeah, are you opposed to talking about it? I said, sure, I'll talk about it. And so I went and interviewed the people, and basically they told me it's 100% project-based learning. It's one-to-one laptops. In the year's 2006. And I said, sure, I'll do that. And we built that school up. It was K-8, and by the time I left, we were in the process of building a high school along with that. And when I stepped away, I stepped into this consultant role here. And because I knew there were a lot of schools across Kansas who are wanting to do this work. And so I said, I've learned the hard way. Let me make it easier for people. And so that's how I got into this particular role. Is I get now to travel not only across Kansas, but into other states, and I get invited actually into other countries to help them rethink and revision what teaching and learning can be.
Okay, so when talking about PBL projects, you said that to be ready for life, students need to practice life. Can you expand on how passion-based learning is helping them to do that?
Well, I hope that it is, yeah. So, and by the way, at any moment, if my answers get too long, just kind of give me a little. Because I like to talk about this stuff. But if we expect kids to be prepared for life, then why would our schools be set up in such a way that you even have to consider asking whether to pee or not?
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so I get that we need to know where people are, but especially at high school levels, but we can't just start at high school, it has to start younger. I want people to leave my life as a teacher and go out into their lives ready to think, ready to solve problems when they come up in the world, to understand how to operate in this ambiguity of what this world is. And when we silo out content, so here's math, and we will never do language arts during math, and here's language arts, and we'll never do history and language arts. That's craziness, because the world comes at us in all these topics smashed together. And as adults, we gotta figure out how to figure that out. Why can't I get that ability for you guys to start practicing that with somebody who can help you start to learn to manage that? And I think if we do that, when you leave us, there's nothing that can stop you. And I've seen that happen in so many kids, and I just want that for everybody.
If you could give one piece of advice to teachers and advisors, what would it be to help them best facilitate the proper learning environment for this type of thing?
One piece of advice? Well, let's see, Ginger, can you distill the past 9 years of your career down into one piece of advice? There's so many things.
I mean, it could be more than one.
Really? Thanks. Be careful. I'll start taking it. You give me an inch, I'll take a mile. I really think that we can trust our learners more than we think we can. I think that it's trust and responsibility. I'm just gonna go back to that. Trust and responsibility are not two different things. They are two sides of the same coin. If I'm gonna trust my students to have more independence, to have more responsibility, I have to give them more responsibility so that they can develop more of my trust. These are not chicken and the eggs. This is the chicken. I don't know, it's two sides of the same coin, and that we have to extend both at the same time. And when I start to give you more responsibility and more trust, and you're gonna screw up because you're human. Heck, I screw up and my bosses give me more responsibility and more trust. But how do we love each other through it, have grace through it, be curious, and stop trying to tell you what to, when to, how to. The more I tell you what to, when to, how to, the more I rob you of being able to make those calls on your own and make those mistakes and learn how to recover from those mistakes. But if I can be there with you as you're learning to recover from those mistakes, then it's a win. I guess that's the advice.
In the few weeks that we've been doing this project, we have seen skills, qualities, and passions that we didn't even know we had until we were asked the question and given the choice to make a difference in our own way.
How do you think we as a society can stop waiting for the world to change, and once people start figuring it out, how can we inspire others to do the same?
Gotcha. You gotta live it. You have to do it. And you gotta capture the process of doing it. With all the ugliness of, oh man, we screwed that up and it didn't go right, but here's what we're gonna do to fix it. And you gotta, and through that process of living authentically and showing it authentically, other people who think that kids your age, and even kids who are younger than you, are too stupid to know how to do this stuff, you're showing that's not true. People all the time would say, well, Ginger, of course your kids can do it. Your kids are too, they would say, my kids are too rich. They would say, my kids are too poor. They would say, my kids are too white. They would say, my kids are too brown. They would say, my kids are, they would have a million reasons why my kids were not like theirs. And you guys are yet another piece of the puzzle showing that it can be done. And there's a lot of kids who are starting to show that. And if you can be literally that change that we all want to see in the world, there's no stopping you. And you guys are already starting to do that with it. When I saw that you tackled this and you created that YouTube channel, you have no idea how excited I got. I didn't know you were doing this. I didn't know Mrs. Sweetalk was like doing it. And I thought, and so I started sharing it out to people. I hope you've gotten some hits with that. I'm gonna share it out again today because this matters. I hear from people, oh, I can't do that stuff in the middle of a pandemic. Well, kids can't handle that stuff right now. You live in proof that you can, and you are, and you will, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you. So, as one of the main advocates for passion-based learning in Kansas, throughout the process of sharing what you do and why you do it, what was it that you hoped to accomplish in seeing educators, students, and communities?
I was afraid you were gonna ask that. You asked my why, is what you just did. Why do I do this?
Yeah.
And it's because I know so many kids who have been told how stupid they are. And we don't say those words, but we give them remedial work, or they get lower grades, or there's a million ways that we tell kids they're not enough. When in through another window instead of the front door, they can see how incredibly freaking brilliant they are and how amazing they are. And maybe they don't read and write really well, but maybe they talk really well and they organize really well. And maybe reading and writing papers isn't something they're gonna do for a career, but if you put something in their hands, they can do it. Likewise, I have seen way too many kids who are brilliant at school and they make all the top scores, and they make all the valedictorian and salutatorian and all that sort of stuff. And when they go out in the world, they fall flat on their faces and can't recover. And those two extremes are who are helped most through project-based learning. Also, when teachers start to see kids come alive across that spectrum and they come alive, then teachers get re-energized and they get empowered to do more of it and to help others do it. It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever studied Plato's allegory of the cave. If you haven't, write it down. It's a little story. It's the embodiment of that story, that old ancient Greek story. And our world has to have it. We can't create these people who just wait to be told what to do, when to do, and how to do it. I've seen too many lives destroyed by creating little kids. I'm calling them little kids who can't think.
Last question we have is, have you seen those opportunities and doors open for people that kind of felt like they didn't have a door or an opportunity?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm crying today. These are real questions. These are good. These are not the same questions that I get from just people. You're asking better questions than I get from adults sometimes. The doors that I see open, I see a kid named Austin, who when he came to me, and I'll say this out loud, when he came to me, he was a 7th grade student who was reading at about a 3rd or 4th grade level. His mom said, he has to come to you because I think he's going to commit suicide. And I thought, what the crap, what am I going to do for this kid? I barely know what I'm doing, let me see. And when he left me, he was an entirely different person. He was a leader in our school, and no, he wasn't brilliant academically, but he was a true leader of kids, of both older students and younger students. And we had provided the flexibility for him to stay with us an extra year, and it was not a punishment. He wasn't held back, although he was. And it wasn't to get him to be able to read at a certain grade level. It was just to give him another fighting chance before I let him out to the wolves. And right now, he's married, he's got 2 kids, he's doing really, really well for himself. And you know what? He's not a college professor. You know what? That was never his path. Even though our high school systems really, traditionally, are set up to create little college professors. Hello, math department. It really was about, and I'm not picking on math teachers, that's how the program has been set up for decades. And that if we really were being responsive to kids and what they need, then we wouldn't have these tracks that every kid takes. We would have more careers-based math. We would have careers-based writing and humanities. We would have humanities, because how do we separate literature from social studies, from art? I don't know how we do, but we did. And it's been to the detriment of all of them. So project-based learning is how do we learn to think, solve problems, find our passions, and to start to do stuff with them, to change the world, because you have the energy. It matters. That's one kid. Yeah. I could stand here for the rest of the day and tell you over and over all the kids who I've seen, and I've only seen a fraction of the number of students in Kansas alone who've been positively affected. Have you been positively affected already in just these few weeks?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Michael said, like there's just been like skills and qualities that we didn't even know that we had until like we were finally asked like how we could make that difference. Yeah. It's been pretty like.
And are you finding that you like things that you didn't know that you liked?
Yeah, like things that I thought like naturally I would just be opposed to. I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool.
Maybe it's career studies and you don't even know it. And you know what, maybe it's not even a career. Maybe it's just a hobby. Because maybe we don't want to always follow our passions as careers. Maybe we want to get a job that pays. Who cares? You know, so that I can follow my passions that are something else. So I don't have to be a starving artist. So I don't have. And right now you're opening up a gigantic Las Vegas buffet in front of yourself, and you get to sample it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What if you had started this as second graders?
I think we would be, all of us would be so much, like, we'd be altered. Like, I think it'd be so different. Yeah.
So what are the things in school that are getting in your way?
Math.
You have to tell us. You have to tell us. Because I'll come in and tell a school where they're getting in the way of kids, but I'm an outsider and an old lady and I haven't taught in that, so I don't know. If you tell your people how the system's getting in the way, are they going to ignore you? And if they do, then how do you go in another window?
I think the core of it for wherever you are is the fact that we're always taught that there's like one way to do something. Like, that there's only one
And that's
way.
not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And if there is only one way, well, is that the best way? And if it's not, then let's figure it out. The thing is that you guys are all brilliant, and it's one of my favorite things is to identify hurdles that exist in the world, and then figure out how to knock them down or jump them or go around them. The hurdles don't have to stop us. Ever.
I love that.
You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're having these conversations. I'm glad that you're putting them out. And if there's ever anything I can do to help be your megaphone.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I think you made our day.
Likewise. What else can I do for you?
I think that's it for today. I mean, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you kidding me? It's like a crap day. Oh, wait, I get to talk to kids? Yeah. Way better.
Awesome.
Okay, well then I'll let you guys go.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great time, okay?
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.